HooHooHooRobin.
Waiting for our guest. He had to go take a dump.
Is he going potty?
He had to make poopies. Morning poopies.
Holt McCallany? Is that how you say his name?
I think so, yeah.
From Lights Out.
I love the show, man. It's a really, really good show.
Yes.
I can only watch one show at a time, man, and I'm watching two right now. I got the Shameless. I'm only a couple episodes in on Shameless. Macy in the first episode, he's barely in it. I guess as the series goes on, he's a big part of the show. And then I'm watching that An Idiot Abroad. What happened?
I got shocked when I sat down.
Oh, yeah, that
my
happens.
little headphones.
When you sit down, yeah.
Oh, Idiot Abroad is with the Gervais show.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
it. I love Carl.
Funny.
Carl rules. I hope he does interviews. I want to talk to Carl.
Carl's hysterical.
Fucking hilarious. Did you see the Mexican one when he went to Mexico?
No, I saw the one where we went to Israel.
And
Jordan.
Yeah, that was good.
Yeah.
Petra or what, that ancient city in the middle of the desert carved into the stone?
Carved into the stone, and he said it would be better to live in the place across.
It's kind of brilliant to say that.
Because then you could look at how nice that is. Because if you lived in the place that's all carved out nice, you'd have to look at an ugly cave across the way.
Logically makes a lot of sense.
And logically also when he's talking about the pyramids and how they're stupid because it's got so much space on the first floor, but the attic barely has any room. It's hysterical.
Some people say that he's not real, like he's like an improv guy.
I don't think he could be that stupid.
Well, he's not stupid though. It's just he kind of has a spaz thing.
It's like an idiot
or like
savant.
yeah. We've had a lot of these guys over the years on our show. Maybe not as great as Carl, where on the surface they look really dumb, but they really say very intelligent, smart things at times.
The animated podcast part, he's constantly talking about insects, and it's hysterical, his take on insects.
But I'm thinking if he was a really good improv guy, we would have known of Carl before now.
You think it's a setup? Like that's his gig?
Some people are saying that maybe he's like just an improv guy and they're trying to
I think working for this show, I have more faith in him being completely real because
we've seen this.
Yeah, because people will say,
We've
there's
seen
no way
versions of
Bobo's
this.
real.
Right.
There's no way Oscar's real.
Right.
But it's like
David. Let's not forget David.
Iraq's got a comment.
Beginning of the Mexico episode where they're comparing the pyramids from Egypt to the ones in Mexico, and they're saying the ones in Egypt are a place of rebirth and afterlife, but the ones in Mexico were for sacrifice and death. And he's like, oh, that makes sense. Like, he couldn't understand the ones in Egypt for rebirth, but he could understand being killed.
Could you explain that one again?
No.
Yeah, it felt really flat. really flat.
The best part was that, and this is what people can't see, Eric just went, no, and put the mic
Oh, no.
And as far as like living across the street, he says the same is true being an ugly person. He's like, why be a good-looking person? Then all you get to see is ugly people. Why not be the ugly person, and then you get to see all the beautiful people and appreciate it more?
He's
They just send the guest is walking into fucking Iraq's studio.
And I just told Roland, bring
great.
him in there.
Hey,
Hold
you doing, man?
What are they doing?
Hey,
They're
man,
sending
how are
you
you?
somewhere
There he
else?
is.
Good, you too.
We got Holt
Yeah.
from Lights Out. What's going on,
How you
sir?
doing, man?
Why were they walking you into who was walking
That's
him
hysterical.
down?
I don't know. Roland just walked in with him. I said, bring him in there.
Roland.
Wow, maybe Roland's having a stroke like that reporter.
Yeah, Roland's freaking out.
Yeah, that was kind of weird. I think he just marched by him. Like, I guess he said, fuck the show, and he's going to the Shady.
Yeah, whatever.
Whatever the fuck it's called, the Black Show.
How you doing, Holt? Good?
Great. Thanks for having me on, guys.
Jimmy's a big fan of Lights Out.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to check it out yet. I got too many shows I got to catch up with. But Jimmy's all in with Lights Out. We had Stacy Keach in.
Stacey Keach plays my dad.
Yeah.
And he's a fantastic actor. I just saw him this weekend. He's doing a play at Lincoln Center called Other Desert Cities, which got rave reviews, and he's tremendous in it. And he's moving to Broadway, and
wow.
I think he'll probably, get nominated for a Tony Award. He's just a superb actor.
And you sound a little like Stacy Keach.
Yeah, I was just noticing you have like a fucking a good radio voice too.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You want to do 2 for Tuesday or something?
I've often said that, they could have looked for a long time, but they never could have found a better actor to play my father than Stacy Keach. Because, first of all, we look alike. We
there
sound
is kind of a
alike.
resemblance.
There
You
is
are
a-
handsomer though. I have to say that you're a little handsomer than Stacy.
Well, but look at those old pictures of him as Mike Hammer and stuff. When
Mike
he had the
Hammer.
mustache and the hat, and he played that private eye on TV in the 80s. He was a pretty good looking guy.
Kareeb. When he was on Kareeb. That was back in the 70s, I think.
Wow.
He goes
I don't
back
remember that one.
No, he goes back
a
a ways.
long way.
Yeah. He's been on some shit for
Twinkle
years.
Twinkle Killer Kane. Did that get renamed to something else?
Really?
Yeah, Twinkle Twinkle Killer Kane.
that.
Yeah.
How about Fat City? Remember the great
We're
John
looking at it.
Huston film?
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, Eric.
Oh, that was a good one, Puerto Rock. Oh,
He's going to come in with a gun.
He really is. Just
Took a
gonna
beating
lose it.
earlier.
Oh,
too,
did he?
so, yeah,
I'm sorry,
I
Rock.
think we reached our E-Rock quota.
All right.
By 6:20 today.
Okay. No more beating up E-Rock. You smell really good, by the way.
Thank you so much.
That's kind of homoerotic to say to a man who plays a fighter when he comes in.
Well, yeah,
but I noticed he smells
New
lovely.
cologne.
Nice.
What is it?
It's called L'Instant by Guerlain. It's L'Instant, and I went to find a new cologne, and I was at Saks, and there was a beautiful girl helping me, and she came over to me and she goes, "This one's really sexy." And I went, you know what?
That's all it took, huh?
Sold.
That's- yeah.
I don't even have to try it. Just wrap it up.
Yeah, that's a smart,
man.
I don't understand the ones that have a lot of them have a gay guy spritzing it at you. It's like, no, you're not the guy I want to fucking bring in. Have the hot chick do it. You play a boxer, and I know your brother was a boxer, and he died years ago.
That's correct. Yeah.
And is it weird to play a fighter like? Does that bring back memories, or do you like take anything from what he was like as a fighter and kind of use that in the role? Because you play a very convincing fighter.
Well, thanks. Boxing has always been my favorite sport, and I started boxing when I was you know how older brothers have a tendency to beat their little brothers up.
Yeah.
You love him, but he's your little brother, so you slap him around. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A couple of times a week, just to remind him that you're the big brother and he's the little brother. And after several years of this, my little brother decided that he was going to go and learn how to fight. So he became a Golden Gloves champion boxer, and I realized, wait a minute, it's not as hard to rough this guy up as it used to. I mean, not as easy to rough this guy up.
Yeah.
So I went down and I started taking boxing lessons and stuff, and we used to box together, and we really enjoyed it. And so from that point forward, I had really had the desire in me to compete in the amateurs. The problem is, I started my acting career very young, and I went on that journey. And although I continued to box recreationally, it just never seemed like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Something that I was going to invest that. So
And that's a hard thing to do both of, box and acting, because the boxing will certainly ruin some of the things you need for acting, like a face. And that's the thing that you kind of have to get over. And I think that's the reason that a lot of actors kind of shy away from it. But the truth of it, and the great guys that I know, like my friend who's Teddy Atlas, who's one of the great boxing trainers of all time, and a lot of professional fighters I know will tell you.
You played him, right?
I played him in a movie for HBO called Tyson,
right,
about Mike Tyson.
All right, yeah.
In the mid-'90s. And he and I formed a long friendship. You do get hit. You cannot get in the ring and not get hit. But fighters don't get hit in training with as many big shots as people probably think. Remember now, you're keeping your hands up. You're moving your head. You're using your legs. Do you know what I'm trying? You're trying to think, defensively.
Yeah,
you're trying to get rounds in. Do you know what I'm trying to say? You spar with a headgear. So yeah, you're gonna take shots,
but you're not getting creamed.
But it's
not putting your nose over on the side of your face.
Hopefully not. Now, guys, look, if you look at, guys' faces it varies from guys to guys. Like you could look at, for example, Oscar De La Hoya's face. Mm-hmm. Oscar De La Hoya.
Who can look at his face with those legs and a dress? He's a pretty kid. I don't know whether I should fight him or fuck him.
Well, there you go. He's still beautiful after all those fights. That's what I'm trying to say, So it's not necessarily true that just because you're interested in boxing that you're going to end up, with a face that looks like, Carmen Basilio or something.
Yeah.
Did you fight, I don't know if anybody else picked, because Holt's a really nice guy. And really like a nice energy, but I'm looking at Holt is fucking crazy. Like I'm watching, I can see
think it could be a problem.
Oh yeah,
really, because I'm watching him like have this gentlemanly demeanor, but I'm like that's the explaining of something before he has a violent outburst. Did you fight a lot growing up? You look like you had a.
Yeah, I was a rebellious kid. I got kicked out of every school that I ever attended. You know, and I knew that I wanted to be an actor from a very early age. But although my parents were both actors, they were Broadway actors. I couldn't convince them to allow me to become a child actor. I wanted them to call up, get me an agent, let me go out there, go on auditions. I would go and see movies. I would watch TV. There were young people. You know, they're young people.
I can do that.
Why can't I do it? Why can't I have my shot to do it? And they were determined that I should have a normal, quote unquote, childhood. And I was unhappy about that, so I was a really, really rebellious kid.
And you ran away.
I did. I ran away from home when I was 14 years old, and I took a Greyhound bus out to L.A. to try to become a movie star.
Wow.
And I ended up with a job in a screwdriver factory in Gardena, California, unloading trucks.
Is anybody creepy?
Wow.
A 14-year-old young Midwestern lad gets to L.A. Any creepy? There had to be some kind of creep predator at the fucking bus stop.
You know what? I was a precocious kid. You know, the thing that I remember about the Greyhound bus ride, you know, it was the 70s, you know, and my mother's from Omaha, Nebraska. She was Miss Nebraska in the Miss America pageant. That's how she got into show business. You know, she came to New York and she worked first at like the Copacabana, you know, as a chorus girl, then for Barbara Walters' father, Lou Walters, at a place that he had in the 40s and 50s called the Latin Quarter. And she became a band singer, which is a big deal in those days. So she'd been around, but she was a small town girl originally. She was from Omaha, Nebraska. So after my parents divorced and she was like on the road and stuff, she sent us back to be raised by her parents in Omaha. Well, I was a showbiz kid. And nothing against the fine people of Omaha, because I had, you know, a great childhood there, and I still have many friends there.
Not a big showbiz
and it's a great
place.
town.
Yeah.
But if you decide that you're going to be an actor,
you
right,
gotta leave.
acting is, in a sense, geographical. Do you see what I mean? There are certain places in America where you can aspire to become an actor.
Omaha's a bad place for acting, even if you're playing a person who lives in Nebraska. Omaha's a bad place to become an actor. Well, there's a big Shakespeare company, I think, somewhere out there that Hanks did some kind of a thing with.
No, that's the Great Lakes Shakespeare Festival. That was in Cleveland, Ohio. And I was in the same, my very first job in the theater was Tom Hanks' first job, too. It's as an apprentice actor, so you're non-paid. And you're trying to get your equity card at the Great Lakes Shakespeare Festival in Cleveland. He and I did the same thing.
As an equity, now here's the thing: as a guy who's doing apprenticeship, do you kind of root for the guy to die? Like you have to root for an accident or something.
No, that's when you're the understudy.
Oh, understudy.
When you're the understudy, I remember like my first big job in New York City was as an understudy in the Broadway production of Neil Simon's Biloxi Blues.
Oh wow!
You may remember that play. It was a big hit. Like in 1985, it won the Tony Award. They made a movie out of it with Matthew Broderick and Christopher Walken, and it's about a group of young guys, you know, that are at boot camp in Mississippi right before World War II. And it's kind of a semi-autobiographical thing, I think, about Neil's experiences, you know, as a young man.
Do you think he had the homosexual encounter in the shower? Do you think that was Neil? Like that was the one, right? Where the one guy jumped out the window. Right. I hope that wasn't what Neil was fucking doing. You remember that scene?
I never asked him, but no, I think I think Neil is straight. You know,
you never know.
Simon, he can't be.
You can be very straight and still. I'm not saying I have, but I'm saying some people are very straight and have had the occasional encounters.
No, but I remember as an understudy, I would go around to these guys and I would say, you know, I was covering 4 guys. I would say, hey, man, can you just let me have one performance? How about a Wednesday matinee? Just so I can bring my agent and my parents. Can't you be sick for me just one day? Take a Sunday matinee.
Yeah, right?
Any day you want. Just give me one day so I can get on one time. And they'd be like, fuck you. You know, most of those guys, though, are out of the business now. So I think, you know, karma comes around to bite you in the ass.
So I
would have done it for them.
You never got on the stage for that play?
Can you imagine this? I mean, I come to New York, right? Both my parents are Broadway actors. My father won a Tony Award as a producer in 1970. My mother is a Broadway actress with a career that spans decades. My first job is on Broadway in the Tony-winning play of the season.
Jesus.
And I'm covering 4 different guys.
Wow.
So I got 4 shots.
You got
and
4
all
shots.
I'm looking for is one performance. I stand by for 6 months. These are all young guys my age. And I say to each of them in turn, I say, look, you know, I will be eternally indebted to you, man. If you
One
can
lousy
just
day.
take one performance off,
Get a cough
just
going.
let me bring my mother and father.
And they said no.
Just let me bring my agent. Just let me bring. And they said no. And
Is it a
if you're
fear though?
listening-
Is it a fear though
Yeah.
that you would be better than them and take their gig? Because I don't know if I would give a guy who is obviously a good actor. Because what if all of a sudden they realize that because we're all panicky.
I'm sure there's some paranoia.
Yeah,
there.
and like you're good and
That
you're
takes
handsome,
place.
like you might take the fucking gig.
I'm sure, yeah.
Well, they have the job, and I'm the understudy. So I think really they're in a position. If they want to be cool about it and they want to do me a solid, they can do it.
You should have made him sick.
Yeah, right. Just like,
Find someone that's got the flu or
like a
something.
left hook, right hand. Oh, fuck.
whatever it
sorry.
takes.
No, little crushed glass in the omelet, like how they got fucking an Oz. Who was the old mobster they killed on Oz with a crushed glass in his food? That's always a good slow way to do it.
I'll loosen some of the ropes above. Let something fall on their head.
Yeah, too bad you weren't
Something.
fucking Spider-Man.
Yeah,
you,
no
you
kidding.
had 6 shots at
Jesus,
that.
you would have been tired from replacing those guys.
So 6 months and you got nothing.
So 6 months, and I never got on. But you know what? It led to a lot of other jobs, and I've been very lucky with my career. And hey, I'm sitting here with you guys now, so it's a long time ago. I've let it go.
What episode are you guys on now? Because I like we saw the first. I think we had the first 5 before Stacy came in, and I got kind of addicted to it. And I hate to wait for a show week by week, so I just begged Roland that he got it, and I'm almost on the last episode.
Okay.
Whereabouts are you guys now? In this season?
Tonight. Episode number 6 will air.
Okay.
On FX at 10 p.m. 9 Central. And this is the episode in which my character, Lights Leary, begins his comeback in earnest. I've decided that I'm going to get back in the ring. I have a lot of money problems, and I've got problems with the IRS, and I can't pay my mortgage, and I've decided that I'm going to get back in the ring, and I take a fight against a very dangerous opponent, a guy named El Diablo, who is kind of like
Coming out of prison,
kind of like a Ricardo Mayorga type, really volatile, like explosive Latin fighter, very dangerous guy, and I start my training, and my wife has kicked me out of the house. I've severed my relationship with my brother because he's betrayed me.
By the way, the wife is everyone's a good actor, but I'm like so fucking annoyed because she's nagging, breaking his balls. He wants to fight. I'm like, would you shut up, woman? Fucking women ruin everything.
Why would you ever want to fight? I didn't hear anything after you saying that I fight a guy that comes out of prison. Why would you want to fight a guy coming out of prison and it's his first fight? Oh, would you want to fight him when he's had a few fights under his belt after prison?
Yeah, well, the
that's
thing
ugly.
is, you're trying to. He wasn't my first choice. I had a hand-picked guy that I knew that I could that I knew that I could beat.
Mm-hmm.
A guy that I had sparred with over the years, and but they broke his hands. Somebody did. Somebody, and I'm not sure who it is. Was it this corrupt promoter? Was it this mob guy from Jersey? But it's actually a great scene. I don't know if you remember a wonderful old boxing movie from the 50s called
Rocky?
The Setup with Robert Ryan. It's a Robert Wise film, but it's kind of like an homage to that. Once you break a fighter's hands,
yeah,
he's out of business
Done.
permanently. Yeah, because there are so many delicate little bones in the hand that trying to get them all to
it's never
heal.
gonna be
The way he's describing this right now, this is a discussion he's had while threatening to break somebody's hand. That's how I know he's fucking crazy, because all those little
on
delicate
Broadway.
bones, like explaining to somebody, I'm going to break your hands if you don't do
And
this.
here's what's going to happen.
Yeah, and that's him trying to get them to just please don't make me break your hands.
Interesting you say that, because the fighter.
Yes.
Did you see the fighter first of all?
Not only did I see it, I saw it twice. I saw the very first screening in New York, where we had a Q&A with David O. Russell and Mark Wahlberg. Those guys are friends of mine. I did a movie for them called Three Kings back in the 90s. And Irish Mickey Ward, who is the subject of the film, is also a friend of mine. He came to my premiere. He and I serve on the
Christian
same...
Bale nailed it, huh?
I saw that film, and the first thing I said to the friend of mine I was with was they should wrap up the Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor and mail it to Christian Bale.
It's the same guy.
I was just hanging out with them a couple of weeks ago at the after party for the Screen Actors Guild Award, and I was there with Dickie Eklund, And I walk in and, I see Mickey Ward, and Mickey's a friend of mine. And I came up, congratulations, Mickey, Melissa Leo won for playing his mom, and Christian won for playing his brother. And the film has been nominated for 7 Academy Awards, and it's a tremendous success, and it's changed his life, and it couldn't happen to a nicer guy. You really can't find a nicer guy than Mickey Ward, and I mean that. And I came, hey, Mickey, how you doing? What's going on? He goes, hey, you want to meet my brother? And I had never met Dickie Eklund. So I said, sure, let's go over there. I go over there, and there's Dickie, and he's dancing with these two kind of fat chicks, you know what I mean? And, and he's really crazy and flamboyant and outrageous and over the top, and like you see him from 12 feet away and his energy, and you go, oh my God. There's that character. And I tell you what, when you spend a few minutes in Dickie Eklund's presence, then you really are convinced that Christian Bale has to win the Academy Award.
Oh, really?
Oh, my God.
Do you think Dickie Eklund knocked down Sugar Ray Leonard, or did he slip? That was a big point of contention in the movie.
They didn't really
and it was amazing to me how important that was to him, as it would be to any fighter. Like, it was, it was a slip. And one guy said that to him, he slipped. Like, someone said that to fucking needle him. And I actually watched the real footage on YouTube, and you can't tell
really
when
tell?
he steps over Sugar Ray. Yeah.
Hey, is Dickie still partying?
I can't answer
That was
that
a big
question.
part of the film. Well, you've been around. You've been around long enough to know, though.
Yeah.
Is the guy partying or what?
Well, I mean, look, he looked like he was having a few drinks with these chicks that he was dancing with, but whether that means that he's back on the crack pipe, I can't answer that.
Sure. Oh, well, but if he was drinking, that's
that's bad too. Though.
Yeah.
But I think with that guy, he has that kind of manic energy when he's stone cold sober.
Right.
So he might have been sober. That's just him,
Yeah. I hope so.
I hope so too. Because
the only reason I brought up that movie, by the way, because they break Wahlberg's hand in the movie, and it didn't affect him.
Right. Well, that's a thing of like, you're right.
The cops, remember?
It's
right. They broke his
hand.
fucking hand.
Look, a lot of fighters end up, a lot of them, having multiple surgeries on the knuckles of their hand. There's a condition called boxer's knuckle. You know what I mean? I had surgery on the knuckles of my hand. Because you're the abuse, the punishment that your fists take. Constantly hitting. You develop problems, but you work with it. But at a certain point, if all of the bones in there are 27 different bones in the you know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
All the bones are broken in one of your hands. It's a very difficult injury to come back from for a fighter.
Well, that's why they broke his hand. They wanted to make a statement in the movie.
Right.
So
It was like
They did.
What was the movie where they broke the thumbs? That was in
Pope.
Newman. No. They chopped it off.
They chopped it off at Pope.
Was it
Village.
The Hustler?
The Hustler.
When they broke his fucking broke his thumbs
He's
for
there
hustling
with
pool.
And with the two casts on his hands, can't do anything.
Yeah, I would just hate to have my right hand broken. The left arm you can lop off. It's just the one hand I can't live without.
Oh, poor Jimmy.
You do a tremendous job, though, man. You're crazier in person than I would have thought, though. Like, because it's like a lot of actors play this character, and you play a great boxer. You play a really great fucking boxer. It's very believable. The interaction with the daughter, the whole story is very, very believable. But in person, you're kind of nuts, man. I kind of like that.
And he was in Fight Club.
Yeah, I love the
was in Fight Club.
One of the greatest movies ever. I
Yeah.
fucking can't get enough of that movie to this day.
And fucking Alien franchise. Come on, Alien 3.
And that was the same director,
Yeah,
David Fincher.
Yeah, Fincher.
Alien 3 was David's first movie.
To be part of that franchise is like, to me, huge, because that's like my favorite movies of all times are the Alien movies, and it's pretty fucking cool.
You think
Definitely.
you think David Fincher can make a movie or what?
It's funny. We were just having this conversation.
Holy
I think that, and we'll know, 20, 25 years from now, because David is still a young man. He's in his mid-40s.
That's it.
Right. I think David Fincher is going to be remembered as one of the greatest filmmakers of all time. I mean, it's clear that he's one of the best filmmakers of his generation, but this guy has such amazing talent, and he's got so many years left to make films, and he's so driven and ambitious as a filmmaker, and I think that
Did he do Social Network?
he did, and I think
right?
he's going to win the Oscar for it.
Fuck. You like Social Network?
I did. The guy who was Eisenberg, his name is, I think, or he was tremendous. I heard he was a little aloof in person. That's just what I heard from some people at NBC. But still a great actor, great job. Jesse Eisenberg, his name is.
Right. Yeah.
Is Shane here?
Yeah, we got Shane Mosley coming in today too.
You got Shane in today?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've met Shane several times. As a matter of fact, I called him to ask him if he would be on Lights Out. We'd like to have him on, to do a cameo because we're huge fans.
Oh, we'll get that working for you.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get that.
You should
We'll
hit
put
him when
the
you
bug
pass
his
him in
ear.
the hall. Just strike him for not calling you back or fucking saying no. Just give him a good belt. All right, well, how do you say the last name? Is
McCallany.
It is McCallany, okay. I'm a tremendous fan. I think you're
Thank you
great.
very much.
And Lights Out is Tuesdays at 10 o'clock on FX. We had Stacey in and now Holt. And it's really a great show, and I am addicted to it. And unfortunately, most people just can't fucking grovel and get the DVDs. But I am on the next to the last episode, and it's just, I love where the story goes, and it's fantastic, man. And I hope it's doing well.
Well, thank you, guys. Thanks so much for having me on. It was a lot of
Thanks for
fun.
coming on there.
All right.
Definitely, Holt.
Come back and see us.
Come right back.
Yeah, we got Sugar Shane Mosley next. Stay there.
Robin,